Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Thursday, which means it's Thursday Tier Talk. Joining me, as always, my co-host on Thursday Tier Talk, the Dazzler himself, Darren. How are you, my friend?
Quiff Richard. I'm all right, Niall. I like the new back in there with the brickwork and the lights and all. Very fancy, Niall.
Thought we go a bit disco for a change, you know?
Oh, I think it looks great. It's a very industrial look for us, isn't it?
That's it, yeah, absolutely.
Quite retro, almost like, to be cool. If we could see the brickwork and then we could get the upper tier spray painted onto the thing, the logo would look lit. Like have a rebrand, go again and all. What do you think, Noel?
Maybe. Although the feedback has been good, they do like the gold ball with the headphones, I have to say. I stole that idea. Do you know where that logo came from? I stole that idea from the Ballon d'Or. My thinking was the Ballon d'Or. And I got the gold ball with the headphones and all the rest of it and stuff like that. So how's your week been, my friend?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Can't really complain. Weather's been a little bit chilly, if I'm honest. It was rough out there today, I won't lie. And the forecast isn't looking terrific for tomorrow. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty grim.
There you go. What can I say?
Snow or sleet until 11 o'clock, and then from 11 till 11 it's rain apparently.
Okay. And probably snow and sleet on higher ground.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, you mightn't even have to waste petrol money tomorrow.
Have to bring Mammy out in the morning.
Oh, that's okay. Bit of breakfast.
Oh,
that's your free pass into the pearly gates when it happens.
It's like penance. She bought this lovely new couch, Hasn't arrived yet, but she bought this lovely new couch, and she said, "Couch will be here in such and such. I want to get the whole room done for when the couch arrives, so that the couch is the last thing that goes in, and I'm not painting it afterwards." I says, "Man, that's a great idea. Very unlike you. Makes sense." She says, "Yeah, I'm after getting a lovely navy for the wall there."
Navy?
Yeah, I said, "I'm not quite sure that's going to go with the charcoal colour couch you're after buying, man." So she says, "No, it will. I says, "I don't think so.
I need a bit of brightness with the grey, don't you?"
Yeah. So she says, "Well, I don't want the grey. I says, "Well, then it sounds like you're getting white, honey." I said, "Well, you can't have navy. It's going to be too dark and blah, blah." And she says, "I'm after buying the paint. I bought it yesterday." She says, "This was today." I says, "Well, we'll have to bring it back." And she says, "And I bought a set of curtains." She has 2 sets because she has a window and a door, and she curtains both of them, I says, "Well, we're going to have to bring that as well." She says, "Well, then you'll have to bring me out." She says, "Because anytime I let one of the rest of them bring me, they always fuck it up." I says, "All right, come on, I'll bring you in the morning."
Happy days. Yeah, well, as always, we'll have a quick look back at the FACup, and we'll have a quick chat about the draw. We're going to be looking at a few other bits. We've got a Premier League preview, but we're especially going to be focusing on the Manchester derby. And there's a rumour that our resident referee may even join us at some point in the show. He has the link. I thought he might want to come on to talk all things Manchester with us.
We would love that, wouldn't we?
We would. So if he's
been
in
a
the
while
chat,
since been a while since I've seen him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a good lad,
let's get into the comments first. Acers, looking forward to watching Termination of United by Terminator Haaland and De Bruyne and Rodri Blue Moon. There you go, kicking it off straight away. Henry's in. What's the crack, Niall? Our under-18s are out of the Youth Cup, beaten by Leeds 3-1, but should have had a penalty. Sound familiar? Yeah. Daz, what's the crack? Niall and Dazzler repeated the World Darts semi-second on. Yeah, I was watching it earlier, Daz, actually. I was watching Aspinall, took apart Peter Wright.
I was on the way home in the car and I rang Andrew. And I says, "What are you up to?" And he says, "Oh, I'm watching the darts. It's Aspinall and Wright." He says, "Aspinall is 3-1 up, I think." He was loving it. He loves the darts. Loves the arrows he does.
It was actually, I think it was Wright that was 3-1 up. And Aspinall came back.
I kind of feel like. Go on, keep on. No. Go on.
He'd 2 legs of darts, 22 darts. He was on fire.
22 is not a good leg.
For 2 legs.
Sorry,
He
I
won back.
thought
He
you were
won
saying.
back. No, he
I
won
thought you were
back-to-back
saying.
legs with. No, he won
He
back-to-back legs
did
with
12 and a
22
leg or
darts.
2 11s or something. Right. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 11s. Yeah, back-to-back to
I was
22
like,
for 2 legs.
22 is not great if I'm honest.
Yeah. No, that's our turn.
I'd possibly get out in 22 myself, like if the truth be known.
Yeah, absolutely. Jesus is in as well. He's talking about the backdrop retro comedy club. Very
Yeah.
much so. Spot on, Jesus.
Yeah.
Great show.
Do you know
That's where the
who?
paper.
Do you know who is just the absolute best comedian around right now? And I think I've mentioned this to you. Do you know the lad Paul Smith, the ginger lad from Liverpool?
Yes. Yeah, I was actually watching him earlier today, taking a Northern Ireland guy apart.
He's just brilliant. He's just
Yeah.
brilliant. And I heard him in an interview himself the other day, and he said, the man said, like, things are going really, really well for you. He went, yeah, he said, like, everything's going really, really well. He says, and your man said, like, do you find it surprising how well it's going? And you can see your man Paul Smith going, no, not really, no, like this. And your man says, well, you don't really tell a whole lot of jokes. He said, like, you just kind of pick people out of the audience and absolutely and bulldoze them. He said, like, and like the whole place is in uproar. He said, but like, I haven't heard you tell too many jokes. And he was like, well, like, I'm getting across, obviously, He said, I do my thing, you do yours, stick to your line and all that. And he was saying to him, don't be asking any of these funny questions.
Yeah,
but I thought it was funny. Yeah. But he wasn't wrong, like, but I have to say, I love him. I love him.
Yeah. No, he's funny, all right. It's more his skit is more like one of those roasts than it is an actual straight up comedy show kind of thing. But geez, you wouldn't want to be sitting too many rows near to him. He'd absolutely upend you.
Did you see the lad in the pink jumper?
No.
There's a lad sitting in the front row in a pink jumper, and he goes, front row, pink jumper. He goes, you're brave, aren't you? Like this. Then he goes, oh, look at you in your Gucci cap with your Gucci shoes, right? He starts taking this bloke apart over the Gucci gear, right? Starts hunting them down, saying, they're only from Turkey and all. Give me the shoe. Your man throws the shoe at him. So he takes it, he's having a look. He says, look, they're from Turkey. Gets someone else up to have a look at them. Your man scrolling through his phone, looking for receipts on this, right? He says, you better have some amount of wedge to be walking around here with your Gucci cap and your Gucci things. And then he's looking at the receipt. Your man Paul Smith is on the phone. He goes, you went nuts here. He goes, you bought 5 or 6 things in this Gucci website. So isn't one of the things the Gucci phone cover that he realizes it? He goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? He says, you fucking knobhead like this. What's your man do?
Go on.
He's a forklift driver. The other fella pile drives him. He says, a forklift driver? He goes, the lads at McDonald's are getting paid more than you, and you're walking around in Gucci. What the and he levels him to the point where your man's like this. Your man's going, getting smaller and smaller in the chair, in the pink Stone Island hoodie he has on.
Yeah, you'd be looking for the hedge, don't you, to come back in?
Yeah.
Let's keep on going with the comments. Delighted with Pogba ban. Couldn't have happened to a nice gunt. Very nice. Good. We want to open up a conversation on that tonight. We'll chat a little bit about Pogba, but I want to talk about sports performance enhancing drugs in sport in general and get your thoughts on it. Evening, gents. Finally, an Ireland manager. Yeah, just for the month of March, though. Just for the month of March. Hi, Dazzler, Daz, and Morris. Big up. Gonna show some love elsewhere.
Hey, Henry.
Out. Cheers, Henry. Appreciate it.
Good to have you, Henry.
Juan is in. Hello. And Daz back in again. Wright needs to change his setup, Niall. He does. I think he needs to kind of abandon all that other stuff he does as well. He's kind of I think the character has overtaken the player, to be honest. Joanne, like and share. Thanks, as Joanne. Always, really appreciate Joanne. All right, Morris, hope you're looking forward to Sting's last match. Is anyone looking forward to Sting's last match?
Sorry. Did anyone happen to see last night? Did you see last night?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, so I'm not an AEW fan. But when I'm scrolling down through Instagram this morning, obviously some of the pages that I follow were showing like clips and highlights of it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Flair turns on the Young Bucks, but like Flair is moving like a fucking T-Rex. He's like to the point where there's a bloke in the crowd behind, and your man in the crowd is just laughing. He's just like full belly laughing as if to say, why is this old age pensioner in this ring here? And why are these two lads having to sell what he's doing to them? Because it was horrific Oh
Yeah,
my God. It
I
was
get the feeling.
dreadful.
I get the feeling as we push towards Sunday, it's going to get even worse, isn't it? This ain't going to end well. This
It's
ain't going to
hard to
be great.
believe, isn't it?
Baz again, big up, Baz. How are you, my friend? Hope you are well. And hi, Henry from Daz. Right, let's
Big
get
up
in.
to Baz.
Let's talk FA Cup. Some
Mhm.
interesting results, to say the least. But I think the draw. What's your feeling on this? I did a little show this morning, an FA Cup reaction show, and I think the draw should be done after the toys are finished playing. What's your thoughts on it?
It makes no odds to me, really. Just because, like, you're going to get drawn against, you're going to get drawn against either way. Whether it's Liverpool or Southampton or United or Forest, it is what it is. I understand where you're coming from. Traditionally, it's always been done afterwards, but I think obviously when they decided to split up the broadcasting, one of the broadcasters was able to get the rights to it, and they run it before so that they can do the aftermatch stuff with the players and the managers and stuff like that, and get the reaction from the game. But yeah, listen, it's not. It doesn't play a huge part in it for me.
I just, where I was coming from was thinking about like this. Like they did the draw last night before the games, right?
Yeah.
And obviously yourselves drew ourselves. So that's obviously the plum toy that the FA Cup would ever wish for, unless they wanted us to meet in the final. But that's the plum toy. And then what happened was the whole of the show and the build-up then became all about getting yous and us to the quarter final at Old Trafford. And somewhere in the mix, Southampton and Nottingham Forest gets lost. And that's kind of what I didn't like about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was kind of a little bit disrespectful, if you like. Now, look, everyone knows that that's where they wanted to go to. You know what I mean? That's
absolutely. But listen, I do understand what you're saying. It probably is a small bit disrespectful, all right, to not, when lads start talking about it and that's a possibility and that's on the table, everyone's rubbing their hands. That's what we want. That's what we want, So yeah, it probably is a little bit disrespectful. The one thing I will say is can't hate Luke Littler, man. Come on.
You have to tell us, first of all, before you can't come on here and say you hate someone and not tell us why. We want to know why.
He's great. And he's a big Man United fan. I did.
That's probably why Will hates and Will's a Pill
fan. Maybe. I did see you right into the group last night, obviously into our group chat, and you said you were talking about about the demise of the FA Cup, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. You touched on it, let's say. And actually, I had come home from work on Tuesday night. The Blackburn game was at full time. Yeah. And they were just going into extra time. The extra time in the Blackburn-Newcastle game is the best half an hour of football I've seen in a long time. And it was phenomenal. Like, it was end-to-end. There was saves. There was action here. There was action there. It was brilliant. And I was actually looking at it going, isn't this a great advert for the FA Cup? And then you obviously watched the game last night. You watched Liverpool and United, or you watched Liverpool and Southampton, or United and Forest.
The two.
And both were a little bit dour, shall we say. And it didn't give the look. But, like, I suppose when you look at it, we've always had games in the FA Cup that were a little bit dour. But we've also had those games where, you look for a cup upset, and Leicester obviously knock out Bournemouth. It's not a huge shock, but it is a little bit of a shock and stuff like that. And like, it was nice to see Blackburn fill Ewood Park the other night, because they generally don't fill it for championship games. As you know, I'm a big championship fan. But the place was packed out. The fans were there. And maybe it gets fans to the door of the club a little bit more because of the draw, the tie against Newcastle, And it could reintroduce fans going to the ground and stuff. Like, I just kind of thought it was really important, And then when they seen the extra time, like the extra time in that Blackburn game was mustard. It was absolute mustard,
Yeah, I have to say that's not really, it wasn't, when I was talking about it, I wasn't necessarily talking about the quality of the football. Where I was coming from was, one, they're starting to put the fixtures now midweek, which I thought is a real kicker, The other thing that I noticed as well is, if you notice, obviously Leeds flying high in the championship at the moment, pushing for an automatic promotion, and also Southampton up there and around the playoffs. and also pushing and stuff like that. And both teams last night fielded weakened sides. Me and you, I think, spoke about it.
Yep.
And I was thinking, like, that to me was kind of a signal that obviously the priority for both those teams is to either get automatic promotion into the Premier League because of the windfall for that, or get into the playoffs and have the second chance, if you like.
Yeah, because I did feel like, you know, there was obviously Chelsea just off the back of the cup final defeat, haven't been playing great. Leeds had a possibility to do a job there last night. Had they maybe gone full tilt, which are Somerville, your Bamford, your Nanto and stuff like that. None of the lads, they come on later on the game, but it didn't start. And again, I felt very similar about Southampton. I thought, knowing how depleted your team was, and, you know, there might have been a celebration or two on the weekend after the game. There was an opportunity for them to go and maybe nick an early goal or a second. Because Southampton generally score goals. They have done all season. But again, like, they go in and they're going in with their second choice keeper and their third choice centre back, and you're like, what's this about?
And they were brilliant for the first 20 minutes. They could have scored 2 or 3.
Well, and I was reading some stuff elsewhere, and whoever wrote, I can't actually remember who wrote it. I will have a look though. But the journalist just spoke about how well coached they are as a side. You know, what beautiful football they played, even to the stage where they're 3-0 down. They're still playing a really good brand of football, a good attacking style of football. They're passing the ball with all of these things, you know. And you just think if they'd put the nut flush on the table, would it have got them through? It's hard to say, but it certainly would have given them a better spin, you know.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was coming from. And the other thing that I noticed today, the write-up today was, before I did that reaction show, was that if you make it through the quarterfinals, I think it is, you're guaranteed 450 grand. And I was saying, this has to be a fucking joke. 450 grand. It's probably costing the top teams 450 grand to compete in that match alone. You know what I mean?
And the rest,
I was thinking, what about all the money they've poured into the previous rounds, doing what they had to do as well? Like, you imagine the cost of a United or a Liverpool for a match day, between security, everything.
And, well, policing. United have to pay for their policing on a match day.
Players, bonuses, everything. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of thinking, like, someone's creaming this somewhere along the line. Because you can imagine the money that's going into the FA from United versus Liverpool in the quarterfinal must be massive, between broadcasting and between sponsorship.
Your problem is that's all predetermined before the draw.
Yeah, but look at how much now they can ratchet it up now that it's drawn.
No, they can't, because the deal
is sponsorship, advertising.
The sponsorship is all done. So that's all done pre-competition starting.
Yeah. But there's definitely a lot more money going into the FA Cup, and it ain't coming out into the teams.
Well, I mean, with the likes of the FA Cup, right, the money is spread out as evenly through the first rounds to give that trickle down effect and stuff like that. So clubs in lower leagues can make a few pounds and stuff like that. But I mean, like, it's the Emirates FA Cup. Emirates paid a certain amount of money for it. The TV channels and stuff paid a certain amount of money for it. They pay for it knowing these matchups can happen later on in the competition. But there's no extra out of it because it's Liverpool and United. There's no other way to make money around it. You know what I'm saying? But I still think, as you said, even if it's 500,000, chicken feed to the likes of City, Newcastle, Chelsea, Liverpool, United. You know,
it's like even not no disrespect, but even to the likes of a Leicester, you know, it's you know what I mean. I think when you go outside of the Premier League, money's different. Money's
but
I think different. If you look at the likes of a Leicester and stuff like that and all, you know what I mean, who were obviously, you know, I mean, they're literally about to be promoted back up into the league, more or less. I think they have is there a 6 or 8 point gap or something like that? Something like that anyway.
They've lost their last two.
Yeah.
It's tightened up a little bit, but listen, they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They're not in danger of not going up at the minute, I would say. So they've a 6 point gap to Leeds. and the same 6-point gap is to Ipswich, and then they've 11 altogether on Southampton. So between the top, there's 11 points between the top four. They should go up, barring something major.
Collapse.
Yeah,
absolutely. Acers, I wonder what odds the bookies have France now after Pogba ban.
I wouldn't say it's going to be much affected considering he hasn't played that much ball.
Yeah, he wasn't playing much for them either. Sure, he wasn't. And he was out injured for the guts of 6 or 8 months, wasn't he?
You've got the likes of Chouameni and Camavinga and Rabiot and stuff like that, and Kante in there. Like, Pogba's not going to be a huge miss for France, if I'm honest.
Yeah, big up, Jack. Good to have you in. Hey. Easy Liverpool victory against United. Crazy talk. It's just crazy talk. Crazy talk. Jack is in. It's my birthday this Sunday, and I have a screen, Alex, in my house. And before I was leaving to go to school the other morning, I was saying that my parents have been looking at gaming monitors worth 600 quid. Jack, the parents are looking after you well. The parents are looking after you well. Yeah, Alexa, he's talking about Alexa in the house. Very nice. Acers, United versus Liverpool twice in 14 days. FACup.
He was listening through the Alexa.
There you go.
That's what he did. He was listening through the Alexa. Because, if you've one in one room, you can listen to the conversation, what's going on in the other room.
Yeah, it's like a baby monitor.
Jack, you little coverts, boy.
He was the same at Christmas. Remember the Christmas he told us? He was scoping the whole Christmas scene as well.
Fucking brilliant, Jack. You're a genius, bud. I love that shit.
Absolutely. Will's in just because he's 17 and absolutely loves himself. I love it. Acers, Rooney stands on Rashford current form was interesting viewing. It certainly was.
Did you watch much of Rooney last night?
I didn't. Do you know what I've been watching?
Lucky you.
I'll tell you what I've been watching, right? And I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but I do it for my penance. I've been on Amazon watching Married to Football. Have you been watching it?
No, I haven't watched any of it yet.
About the City boys. It's about Riyad Mahrez.
I did see it, yeah. I seen his missus and a few other girls and whatever.
Tarkovsky's in it as well, and a couple of others. But it's a tough watch.
I gotta tell you, who was it on last night? Was United on BBC or ITV? It was on BBC because it was Gary Lineker
BBC
and Jermaine Jenas, with Wayne Rooney. If the BBC learned one lesson last night, it's that Wayne Rooney should never, ever, ever be put on the TV screen and being given, carte blanche to go and speak, because he is a bumbling idiot. God bless him. Now, I love him. I absolutely love the ground the guy walks on, because he's a Man United legend. He is a Man United legend. As a footballer, he's right up there at the absolute top of the tree for me. I think he's phenomenal. But as a pundit and as a bloke putting a sentence together, my God, there has to be more space at the back of the bus to allow him sit down, because he is. Man.
He spent years, didn't he, with Colin being the spokesman, so no surprise.
Man, you want to see how bad he was.
Didn't we learn from the Vardy thing? The Vardy documentary, sure. BBC should have known better. They should have known better. That's all.
I don't think Marcus at the moment is playing the best kind of football that he'd like to, and maybe he could. And he kept he was looking for words, and like at one stage I was thinking, this is going to be a real highbrow word,
I think was there notes written on the ceiling, like the way the Rock had the notes in his hand for the promo. Was there no notes? Because he kept on looking to the ceiling when he was talking. Was there bullet points on the ceiling, or what's the story?
I have no idea. But it was hard to watch. Like, it was uncomfortable. I was like, oh no, how's this going to come out tomorrow on social media when they're all absolutely ripping him a new one going, did anyone see Wayne last night on the BBC?
He's used to it at this stage. He's used to it. Acers, Liverpool, Palace and Bournemouth United Super Sunday the 14th of April. Me and Darren will be at Anfield along with Ben and Christian.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
If Liverpool were on at 2:00,
yeah,
and United run at 4:30, would a helicopter do us?
Oh, would you? Yeah, absolutely.
Helicopter do us?
Yeah. Sure. The helicopter from both those grounds would be what's a helicopter? 15 minutes?
I don't know. That's all we'd have. We wouldn't have more than that.
They'd land us on the pitch, though. We are the upper tier. Like.
Take us in over the top of the stadium and then
Right
just down into the centre circle.
Yeah.
Oh. I've had thoughts.
Although I have to say, based on history, I'm not taking the helicopter out. I'll walk out into the car park if that's all right.
Absolutely. No problem. That works for me. 100%. Yeah. Gravy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, give us quick fire here predictions. Quarter final. Who are you going for? Wolves, Coventry?
Wolves.
You're going for United, I assume, against Liverpool?
Very hard to kind of pick at the minute because we don't know what kind of sides either team will have out with injuries and stuff like that. I think injuries are catching up with obviously Liverpool and they've started to catch up with us as well. You know, we've now left back, we've our second choice right back, and we've our centre back, which is Varane, and then they're just looking for anyone to put in alongside him at this stage. You know, it's tough to watch. If we could get 2 or 3 players back, we could do something. But if we don't, I think you guys might nip us off.
I think we'd both like to see a few players back and have a real good fist of it. Wouldn't be a real good game?
Yeah.
Chelsea, Leicester. That's going to be interesting, isn't it? Chelsea.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Chelsea, but just because I think Leicester are a very similar level to a Leeds side, and I think last night will help Chelsea a little bit because I think there was a confidence builder there, to just get over the line.
And I suppose, as you said, in 2 weeks' time, Leicester could be preoccupied depending on how results go. So this may not be a priority.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a couple of wins, and they're staring down the barrel of a return to the Premier League, and they might just say, do you know what, we don't need to do too much here. We'll just send out who we have and let Chelsea toddle off into the next round. And actually, when I looked at this, I said to myself, is there a possibility we end up at Liverpool-Chelsea in the final again?
Would it surprise us?
You know?
Man City, Newcastle.
It's got to be City at the Etihad, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed last night, if you watched any, or the night before, if you watched the Blackburn-Newcastle game, Eddie Howe looked under serious pressure when that went to penalties. He was staring down the barrel.
And to be honest with you, like, I don't get it myself. I really don't get it myself, if I'm honest. I think he's done a phenomenal job at Newcastle. I think, as we said, the squad wasn't ready for the Champions League and the Champions League campaign and the 6 games that they had to play and the injuries they picked up in it really put pay to their chances in the league and in any of the other cups and stuff like that. So I think it's lesson learned as far as Newcastle are concerned. For me, I think they'd be absolutely mental to get rid of Howe. I think they need to just, you know, get their finances in order from a point of view of allowing them to go and look at the players that they want to look at. You know, with the budget they have, because of FFP, they're finding it very difficult to go and get what they want. But I think if they could address that with, you know, a couple of ropey sponsorship deals and name St. James's Park, the Saudi oil stadium or whatever it needs to be called, to put 200 or 300 million in the coffers, then that's what you need to do and just get the ball rolling on this, you know?
I think he's gone in the summer.
It wouldn't shock me, but I just think if he is gone, he's been hard done by.
Yeah.
I think he's been hard done by. If you look at where he's taken them, you know, they were on the brink of extinction before he came in. The championship was on the way, and then all of a sudden you're seeing them pump PSG in the Champions League. You're like, Newcastle fans have a fucking short memory. They really do.
Yeah, but it kind of fell away very badly, and we know the reasons why and stuff like that.
The squad fell away as well, like,
yeah.
You know,
no, that's what I mean. And obviously the Tonali situation wasn't great either, and stuff like that. They got their trousers pulled down, and you know, a couple of other bits and pieces there. But I still think it's even still worrying right now, even with players back. And you look at Wolves there under Gary O'Neill, who have gone above Newcastle now. You know what I mean? So the signs aren't great, and Eddie does look certainly worried on the sideline. I think if he would have been in serious trouble, I think if Blackburn had won that penalty shootout.
There's a guy doing a serious job, Gary O'Neill, as well as Bournemouth are doing under Iraola. I think they've got to be looking and going, Jesus, we didn't expect that. We didn't expect him to take. He seems to have taken to it like an absolute duck to water to the management, because he was getting a tune out of Bournemouth, and now he's getting a tune now at Wolves. And no doubt, if things keep rolling the way they are at Wolves, he's going to get a tune now with something a little bit higher in that league table. You know,
I couldn't believe it today. I was listening to TalkSport today, and they mentioned he's only managed 69 senior games between Bournemouth and Wolves.
It's phenomenal. Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Incredible.
Yeah, really is.
We need to find a guy like that for the Ireland gig, don't we? Morris is in. How's Mason Mount getting on? The bet is being drawn now. What next? The last bet just put together, was it a draw? Was it? As far as
what was the last one?
I don't know. What did you pick? I'm not too sure.
I couldn't tell you.
Morris probably know. He'll tell us in the chat.
Morris will tell us now. Yeah.
5-1 Aspinall, 9 Darter.
I couldn't remember, but I do know we had a bet a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, but I couldn't tell you what it was. Was it over Mount? Yeah, it was BBC One.
That was on the commentary.
Yeah, that's right. Wolves, Pill, Chelsea, City. Yeah, I think I see Wolves, Chelsea, and City all right. I think, the plum tied around Morris, now that you're not involved, obviously, is United versus Liverpool. Wouldn't it be scary if United won the FA Cup and Arsenal didn't win a trophy again this season? Wouldn't that be scary? Surely that would be Arteta gone, right?
The only scary thing about you guys winning the FA Cup is that Ten Hag might end up staying. That's the only scary thing for you guys.
That should only be a scary thing if you're a United fan, though.
No, but that's what I mean for you guys.
If you're a Liverpool or Arsenal fan, you're like, let them win the fucking thing and keep them for another 18 months.
Absolutely. Did you listen to the was it the post match or was it the presser today? He was talking about how upset he was at the
TikTok.
The TikToks.
Fulham.
Good Lord. Would you, like, as a senior manager, would you even bring that up? Can you imagine Pep or Klopp or Wenger or Jose or Alex Ferguson bringing that up?
Hold on now. We can absolutely imagine Klopp doing it. Let's be honest now.
Yeah, but he'd do it in a more snidey kind of way.
Like,
he's
a fucking snide, all right.
Yeah, but like if you look at
Salt Bay, King of the Scousers.
Yeah, but Klopp is doing it to generate a reaction. Ten Hag is looking for kind of pity. That kind of way.
I don't know if he was looking for pity, but I certainly think it was misplaced.
You can't protect the unprotected.
It was misplaced and misadvised. Well, I mean, like he also came out on Tuesday morning, I think, which was ahead of the cup game, and he had a bite out of Jamie Carragher, didn't he? Over some of what was said on Monday Night Football. Now, listen, I'm a Man United fan. Jamie Carragher spoke nothing but facts on Monday night. Absolutely nothing. His analysis, his technical analysis.
I'm saying a lot of his analysis being commended, actually, really commended.
His analysis is very good now in general. Yeah, he's very, very good. It pains me to say he's probably the best football pundit out there at the minute. But to hear Ten Hag try and go after it, I was like, oh, why are you doing this? Like, this is such a bad idea. You're only gonna make this worse yourself. Don't get involved. First of all, as you said, it's hard to defend the undefensible sometimes. You know what I mean? And that's what it was. So don't be going in like that. I
think, do you know what it is? Because of the Jadon Sancho situation now, there's a fear that he's going to put his foot in his mouth again and cause a problem. So now he's gone the other way,
Yeah, but also look at, like, we talk about the Sancho thing. Look at what Sancho's done at Dortmund at the minute. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. So, it's not like Sancho's gone and absolutely tore it up. He had assist his first game, and I think he scored a goal in the third one. But I think he's got 2 goal assists in 8 games or something. So he's not setting the world alight. He's had another little niggly injury, and he's sometimes he's only been taken off the bench, whatever. He's done exactly what he did at Old Trafford, which was very fucking little.
His timekeeper might have improved a little bit. That's the only thing.
Heard they got him. I think heard they got him one of them Rolexes or Folexes off the beach in Tenerife, and they set it an hour out, and he manages to get there.
He sleeps at the training ground now. He sleeps at the training ground. He's not allowed to leave.
He's the caretaker.
United will have more rest time than Liverpool because they play City and Prague, then United in 6 days. The more games, the better for us. I'd rather us playing games than going into training. You seem to be picking up an awful lot of injuries in training.
Yeah, I don't know. Those are not. There's because of the amount of injuries you're picking up. I don't know whether every day helps you guys at the minute or should help you guys because it's a step closer to getting somebody maybe back on the pitch. And I think in that sense, he's possibly right. I won't say that too often.
Yeah, I wouldn't be overly worried about that. I'd rather be playing games. 6-5 Aspinall, 160 out. Right, let's get into the Premier League preview. Let's begin. Brentford versus Chelsea. Thomas Frank under a lot of pressure right now.
I need to just look at my beat the bookies here because I'm pretty sure I picked some of this out. Yeah. I think this could be exactly what Chelsea don't need. Going to that vitality, not vitality, going to that community stadium at Brentford. Thomas Frank under a little bit of pressure and Brentford kind of getting their backs against the wall with that home crowd behind them. I think Brentford will put in a performance here. Now, I don't necessarily think it'll be enough to get them to win, but I do think Brentford might get something out of this. And I'm going to say this is Brentford and Chelsea 1-1.
Interesting. Ace has gone for a Brentford win. Jack is in. I'm back. Yeah, it was on the Alexa screen and I seen it because their Amazon account is linked to the Alexa and I asked for a desk also. I'm probably going to get a couple of t-shirts and Monterex pants. There you go. I tell you, you're eagerly listening to that. Joanna's in. She's going for a 2-2 draw. A few goals in it. Bonkers is in. Big up Bonkers. Thanks for joining us. He's going for a 2-1 win to Brentford. Ivan Tony.
Yeah.
Acers is going for Bournemouth in the next one. Burnley versus Bournemouth.
Yeah, I don't think you can. Whoa, excuse you. I don't think you can. There you go. We had the spinnies there. We back.
We are.
I don't think you can look past Bournemouth, to be honest with you. They were unlucky last weekend against City. They played some really, really good football. Unfortunately, didn't manage to create the volume of chances they needed to get one over the line. I thought Solanke was decent, though, kept the City back line busy. And the boy, Unal, who was an ex-Man City player, who came on at the end, looked very handy and almost got a really good winner, or almost got a really good equaliser. I'm going to go Bournemouth here. I think Burnley got on the score sheet, but I think Bournemouth will get over the line here because Burnley, unfortunately, at the back just can't keep things tight enough. And I'm going to go 2-1 to Bournemouth here.
Interesting. Romy One Kenobi, yeah, all again. Big up. Thanks for joining us as always. What's your feeling on company at the moment now? Where are you feeling with it now with what you've seen, say, the last 6 weeks or so? I know you were a staunch admirer, and we all were, especially with his championship football last season and stuff. But,
yeah, and I still am an admirer. No, well, listen, I said this earlier. Vincent Kompany doesn't sit at the same table as a lot of those teams in that playing in the league this weekend. Like, he doesn't sit at the table with Chelsea. He doesn't sit at the table with City, United, Newcastle, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs. So that makes life very, very difficult. From a budget point of view, they were the runaway winners of the championship last season. I think, again, if they'd have been in the championship this season, they'd have run away with it again. I think what they might do, and I did say this, I think what they might do is they might get relegated and keep him. And just try to build that extra layer, that extra level. Give him another year or two where maybe he wins that championship again, gets them back in the league, has a little more behind him from a squad point of view, and obviously from an experience point of view coming into the league, and maybe give it a second roll and see can he do any better. But I mean, like, if you're looking at it, what do they gain from sacking him? Because of the way they've gone, the route they've gone down from a philosophy point of view and the football and style, they've bought players to fit in a Vincent Kompany team. it's very hard then to turn around and say, okay, Vincent, you're exiting the building. We're going to bring in Sam Allardyce to try and keep us in the league. None of those lads are going to work under Sam Allardyce. It's a different ball game completely. So I do think they need to be very clever here. And I think they need to be very, they need to understand that if company is there, is what they believe in, they need to just give the project a little bit longer, And I know that's easy to say as a United fan because, Burnley don't make a whole lot of difference in my world. But I think from a Burnley point of view, if you want to have a bit of longevity in that league, you've got to build, as we talked about with like a Bolton, where Allardyce went down, went up, went down, went up, went down, went up, stayed, learned lessons, accumulated players who we knew could work in the league. I think that's something Burnley should be looking for.
Yeah, possibly. It'd be a big commitment from company as well, wouldn't it, for those to put in that other 2 years and stuff like that as well. And I suppose in the summer as well, you're probably going to see a lot of jobs coming available with managers moving around and stuff like that at clubs where his style of playing football might suit better with better talent maybe on the continent. So I think Burnley could have somewhere in Portugal or somewhere like that, you know what I mean, where I'm not saying maybe Sporting, maybe if Amaran comes out and stuff like that, but something like that kind of situation.
Yeah.
They might look at him and go, his style of football is exactly what we need here and we're geared for it. So he might slide in there and be a perfect suit for it and stuff like that. No, but we'll see. But certainly it's a tricky situation for Burnley as well, because if that's Burnley's thinking, they better be hoping that that's his commitment and stuff like that as well. But
absolutely,
we shall see. Anyway, Morris is in talking about it. Company doing some stuff on the Turf Moor carpet. Good, he's Deutsche Stock Martens. Two very different managers, very different styles of play.
Yeah.
Hard to. I mean, what Deutsch did at Burnley though was just incredible. I've got to be honest. What
Deutsch is doing at Everton is pretty impressive for my money.
Yeah, and carrying an awful lot as well. A lot going on there. Everton versus West Ham.
I'm going 1-1 again. I did this last week where I had a couple of results and I thought 3-1, 3-1, 1-1, stuff like that. Yeah, I think this is obviously West Ham off the back of a great result last weekend. Really good result for West Ham.
Yeah.
Going to Goodison, it'll be tough. There won't be lots of goals. There won't be, both of them can be quite blunt at times, but also both of them can be quite staunch in their defence at times. They can be two quite defensive teams. So, yeah, I think 1-1 on this. I think it'll suit everybody. Obviously, Everton getting the 4-point bump at the minute. I think another point for them would push them a little bit higher up the table and they'd be happy enough to tick away with that,
Yeah, make sure you're going over and subbing to Jack's channel, folks. 5 subs away from 500.
Good man, Jack. Well done.
Ace is going for Liverpool. Romney Kenobi company is on a tight rope. He is on a tight rope, and it's quite unusual. It's not a tight rope in terms of what you typically expect from a team on the cusp of relegation. It's a kind of as Darren said, do they stick with the project? Is it a longer term thing? Is what they believed and all that kind of thing? But certainly going to be interesting.
See, don't forget, if you look at the behind the scenes at Burnley, you've got somebody like a JJ Watt, We know he's bought into Burnley and stuff like that. Now, if you look from an American football point of view, how long do you look at managers or coaches in the NFL continue building a project? The NFL slow play things on this. They give managers a long period of time without any success because they understand that, well, first of all, we'd have to have somebody better to replace them. And second of all, if we're developing as a team, it's always about who you can get into the next position. And I think that might stand to somebody like a Burnley where they go, you know what, let's use this model. Let's keep company. Let's keep ploughing behind them. Let's keep every time you have a window, let's give him a little bit more money. If he can get guys out then, at a decent value and bring more money into the club, we'll let him invest in younger, fresher players to suit that style of football because we believe it's the style of football that will inevitably keep us in the Premier League,
Yeah. Bonkers is going with West Ham 2-0 over Everton. Fulham versus Brighton.
Yeah, Brighton obviously really, really poor. Last night, excuse me, really, really poor last night against Wolves, and relatively poor at home last week against Bonkers, against Everton. Although I know they had Billy Gilmore sent off, so getting the draw probably doesn't look as bad on paper. But I think Brighton, we spoke about Brighton. We spoke about it, and obviously, you know, Brighton have been a Jekyll and Hyde team this season. I think Fulham are a team who you know what you're going to get from them every week. I think Marco Silva he's gone under the radar himself with Fulham. And we've spoken about this before. Like, he's had absolutely buttons to spend. You know, he sold his crown jewel, which was Mitrovic. He didn't really get to replace him. He kind of replaced him in January with Broja on loan and with a 5 million bid or a 6 million bid for Jimenez as well. And, you know, he hasn't really got to invest the money and stuff like that. I think some of the signings have been excellent. Obviously, Paulinho and the boy Calvin Bassey and stuff like that.
Even Willian coming back in.
Yeah, I think, and I think Alex Iwobi, although he seems to miss an awful lot of chances, I think his general all-round play is pretty good. He's got a great engine and creates an awful lot of space with the pace he has and stuff like that. So I think, like, on paper this says Fulham, but I think Brighton show up every kind of second or third game, don't they? And I think maybe after last weekend,
at the Cottage as well.
Yeah, I think maybe after last weekend, obviously Fulham off the back of that huge victory at Old Trafford, very hard to get back up for a game like Brighton. And that might cost them a little bit. I think we'll go 1-1.
How have you felt about Brighton this season? I know you've mentioned it there, but there's a lot of destabilising stuff there, isn't there? There's a lot of talk of De Zerbi being linked with bigger jobs, potentially United. There was talk of him being linked with the Liverpool job. There was talk of him being linked with the Barca job. You know, there was talk that at the end of the season, Matoma's going to be sold. Evan Ferguson has been in and out of the team, both with injury and both with selection. You know, they're still trying to kind of find that balance of losing McAllister and Caicedo.
I did read something the other day that apparently Ferguson is struggling mentally, and it's his mental health that has him out of the team as much as anything, which was quite sad to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that maybe, you know, everything that happened last season, all those highs,
playing on.
That this season is just it's a bump down to earth. You know, he signed big deals with bootmakers and with, you know, brands and sponsorship, and there was talks of 50 or 60 million to United or to Spurs, and all of this grew and grew and grew, and then all of a sudden he can't get into the Brighton team, and he's not scoring goals, and it becomes tough, you know, and you've got to be very resilient. We know we've seen lots of guys.
Reality can bite, can't it? Reality can bite.
It sure can. And then you're reading stuff in the media and in socials and stuff like that. And listen, please God, that's not the case. And hopefully, you know, we get to see the best of Evan Ferguson, because we know he's a superb talent. He needs to, you know, focus on football and get back in that Brighton team, scoring goals, and the rest will take care of itself. Everything else outside of that and outside of the bubble. If you look after what happens on the football pitch, the rest will all work. But I think if you're focusing on other things and the football's not going well, it all kind of piles up on top of you and stuff like that. So, you know, obviously we'll wish him well and stuff. But I suppose De Zerbi, as you said, looked like he was a shoe-in for a really big job. And you lose over 200 million worth of midfielders in the summer. Difficult. It's really difficult. Yeah. You replace them with Billy Gilmore, the boy Mahmoud Dahoud, who they sent back on loan in January.
Yeah.
The lad Carlos Baliba, who's barely had a kick. So what left, and what you brought in didn't work. It makes life very, very difficult. And then when you consider the drop off from a Ferguson, you'd Matoma at the Asia Games. You'd Estepina out injured. You sold Robert Sanchez and you to get a keeper in there. And between Steele and Verbruggen, they've equally been as bad as each other this season. Everything snowballed. You know, and I think De Zerbi would be delighted to get to the summer. You know, if he's staying upright and hit the reset button, trim a little bit of fat from the squad, and go and get some quality to try and patch up what's missing and give it a good spin again then next year, you know?
Yeah. So what did you say you're going for here?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1-1 again.
1-1.
No, sorry, I'm gonna go 2. I'm gonna go 2-2. 2-2.
2-2. Roll me one. Kenobi's in. One manager that would have did well at Burnley is Enzo Maresca. The stuff he's doing at Leicester is amazing.
Yeah, but like Maresca plays a really good brand of football, as well as Vincent Kompany. So you know you're kind of swapping like for like. The one thing I would say is, any manager is going to find it difficult going to play that style of football on that pitch at Burnley because it's a fucking cabbage patch. So, you know, Kompany, had he been in the Championship, would be doing something similar and did do something very similar to what Maresca did at Leicester. Now, the issue's going to be when Maresca steps up next season with Leicester, can he do better than Kompany did this season? We shall see is the answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Luton versus Villa.
Yeah, I think this will be Villa. Stretching the gap. And the gap is getting bigger and bigger and more worrying. And when I look at the game underneath it, I think, right, Villa get 3 and we don't. And then all of a sudden it's stretched again.
Yeah.
So I am worried about that. I think Villa could do it. Could get a good way to win on Sunday. I think 3-1 maybe over Luton. At Kenilworth, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Tough place to go, though. Who knows? Acers is in.
It is.
Rashford on his way to PSG and also Bruno potentially. Darren would probably drive them.
Put them on my shoulders and swim.
Carry them.
Yep.
Absolutely. What were you going to say there about Luton Villa?
I think Villa will be buoyed by the fact that they'll look at obviously us going there and getting a win and saying, well, we know we're not at miles off where they are. We should be able to do the same thing, you know.
Yeah. I'm going to skip the Manchester derby, right, because we're going to look at that kind of in isolation, if you like. Newcastle versus Wolves. Yeah,
I think this could be another difficult day at the office for Eddie. I think Wolves are playing very, very well at the minute. You know, they were even able to give a rest last night to some of the lads. They obviously brought Neto off the bench and stuff like that. Which I thought was really clever from Gary O'Neill, and he gave Chan the game and brought Sarabi on and stuff like that. So yeah, very, very good. I think they'll make it difficult for Newcastle. Now, your big issue with Wolves is they don't score enough. If they did, you know, life would be much, much easier. But with what they're doing at the minute, I certainly think they could get something out of St. James's Park, and again, maybe a 1-1 or a 2-2. I'm gonna have splinters up my hole after this.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack is in. Niall, have you seen? Apparently, we're keeping tabs on Mbuemo. If Salah leaves in the summer, but if Salah does leave, we need a better player than Mbuemo. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Salah's replacement will certainly not be Mbuemo. That is for sure. And no disrespect, I'm a fan of Mbuemo's, but not at that level. Not for me. What did you go? Newcastle and Wolves?
1-1.
1-1. Interesting. Forest versus Liverpool?
Liverpool. Liverpool. Yeah, I think I'll go. I think, again, we'll see something similar to last night. You know, might not be the prettiest, but I think we'll see Liverpool just do enough to get over the line. I'm going to go Liverpool 2-1.
Are we in danger of a game? And I've said this before, and we tend to sometimes on the run in stumble at games like this Forest game. Are we in danger with the amount of chances that we cough up that one of these teams, not necessarily the higher teams, but one of the kind of middle section teams, if you want, is one of these teams eventually going to take these chances and hurt us?
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the teams that could do it, if I look at a Hudson-Odoi, if we're looking at a Langa, a Gibbs White, and a Wonyi, like, there's plenty of possibility from them there to put forward past you if they were just better in front of goal. Like, they created a number of chances last night against us, but the finishing was poor. Now, the boy Wonyi's only back from an injury, and he looks like he needs games. He's still not quite where he would like to be. But we know he's an ex-Liverpool player, and he might just fancy it against Liverpool, and Elanga, being an ex-United fan, or being an ex-United player, might just fancy it against Liverpool. And the boy Gibbs White, who's a smashing footballer, might just fancy it against Liverpool. And if they do, they'll make it tough for you. But I think he might just get over the line.
Absolutely. Hopefully, anyway. I really want to keep this title race alive, you know what I mean? Let's see how it goes and stuff like that. But be tough if City ended up doing the 4P. Sheffield United versus Arsenal.
Yeah, this is Arsenal by how many, isn't it?
I would have thought so.
Yeah, this has the look of that kind of West Ham game they played a couple of weeks back.
If they lose this week, do they get relegated?
Sheffield United, I couldn't tell you.
Did I read something like that? If they lose their next 2 games, they're gone or something like that. I don't know. I haven't looked at the stats.
Yeah, listen, I think it's inevitable. It's a foregone conclusion for Sheffield United at this stage. They are going back down to the Championship, with very few highlights, if I'm honest.
Yeah, roll me one Kenobi. If De Zerbi goes to Chelsea, that fan base will lose their mind. That fan base has already lost their mind. My feelings.
I don't think De Zerbi to Chelsea's that bad a shout at all, if I'm honest. I think he would absolutely suit what Chelsea want to try and do. I think he's a lot braver than Pochettino, and I think that's what the fans want. I think the fans want a certain brand of football where results will come with the brand of football, and I think they want to see their team on the front foot and be a little bit braver. And I think at the minute Pochettino struggled with that, whether it's him or whether it's the message not getting across and stuff. But I think De Zerbi at Chelsea could be a really good move.
Well, that was the talk the other day. The talk the other day was he had a plan in extra time and the players went into business for themselves or something like that. That was the narrative that came out. Tell us this: do you see Chelsea sticking to that plan, or do you see this summer a change to that plan? Have they learned anything from this season?
I think it's difficult to say at this stage, just because you've probably got 12 games left. You've about a third of the season. The last 12 games are going to have a huge impact on how things go down. Obviously, if he was able to get to an FA Cup final, that would shine a light on him in a positive manner. But also, if he can pick up 6-8 wins out of 12 in the league, keep them in touching distance for that 5th, 6th, 7th place in the table, I think he might just do enough to hang on to the job. For me, I be honest, and I spoke to Ian about it the other day, I don't think that's what Pochettino wanted the other day at all from his boys in extra time. But I do think when Liverpool made the changes and brought on the younger lads, they had an immense amount of energy. And I think the Chelsea lads didn't know how to deal with the energy. And because there was a fear that these guys could maybe run in behind us and run all over us like that, we need to just sit back into formation and try and keep them in front of us and hope we can keep them out till the penalties. And it didn't work,
Yeah. So Arsenal, it's about how many really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we could see 4-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, easily. Or more. I tell you, there's been a couple of games this season where they've threatened that Premier League record, isn't there? And this could be one of these ones where these absolutely fold. And
possibly.
It could really happen.
Possibly. Their other issue is, as good as the football they play is, they're still missing that number 9. That guy to just that they're missing the Haaland to score 5 away at Luton on a Tuesday night. That's what they're missing.
But still looking very impressive last month or so.
Absolutely so. Yeah.
Tottenham versus Palace. Palace playing with a bit of freedom under Glasner now.
I still don't fear them, by the way. Can we put that in there? Just so everyone gets that. I have no fear for Arsenal. Just saying. Glasner obviously came in and it was a great result last weekend for them. Really big result, going away from home and stuff like that, and getting the win. I think you could see straight away the pedigree in Glasner and in obviously the tactical changes he made. They went to 3 at the back, they went to 3 in midfield, they went to 2 up front with the wing backs, either playing with the ball or without the ball and slotting in, and it was a completely different Crystal Palace. But like, he was able to get the message across so well, so quickly, to the point where that would be a frustration for me, because I'm looking at it going, if this guy had 7 days and he did that, we've had nearly 2 fucking seasons and we haven't seen that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Acers, I would hope Martin Edwards wouldn't be taking the Liverpool current offer, but Michael Edwards might. Let's see what happens. Now, where are we? Jack wouldn't even pay 20 quid for Careless Beats.
Spurs and Palace. We didn't do a score.
Yeah, go ahead there. Shout it.
Spurs and Palace. 2-2.
You're banging the draws this week, aren't you? Have I rubbed off on you or something?
Little bit.
Romy one can all be on the same about Gakpo. Yeah, absolutely.
We spoke about it.
Yeah. United was never going to get Champions League football next season. Why are we shooting that so early? Gakpo isn't injured 24/7 though, unlike Gowler. Yeah, that's true.
I think that makes it worse though, the fact that he's not injured 24/7 and he's still dog shit.
It's another excuse off the list kind of thing.
Do you know what I mean?
Doesn't get a game because doesn't like his attitude. Yeah. Still, I think is he still our top scorer in the
Carabao?
Carabao, wasn't he? Yeah. If you want 200 for Vinny Jr., we want 350 for Salah.
But that ain't happening, because look at the age gaps as well. Salah's much older than Blade and Vinny Jr.
Yeah. Newcastle, bonkers gone. Newcastle and Wolves 2-2.
I think that's what I went with, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what you went with. Spot on.
Yeah.
Joanne's gone with a 2-1 win for Wolves. That will be massive for Gary O'Neill.
It might be massive for Eddie Howe as well.
Absolutely.
Him and the boy Jason Tyndall might be heading to the Doll queue on Monday morning.
Yeah, talk coming out actually. A good point there from Romy One Canal. The only people that are paying that overprice for Salah is the Saudis. Talk coming out there yesterday or the day before, from someone close to the situation was saying that the deal for Salah is already done. It's already copper.
Go on, tell them who close is. Do you not remember?
No.
Was another Egyptian fake Mido.
Yeah. Don't know.
I listen. I firmly believe now he knows Klopp is leaving. He's got 1 year left. It's time for Liverpool to cash in. He knows he's going to Saudi Arabia. He's just looking at where he's going to end up. Is it El Etihad? Is it Al Nassr? Is it Al Hilal? Wherever he goes, but he's on his way to Saudi 100%.
Everton and Nottingham Forest to know their fate on charges by next week. Yeah, interesting incoming.
Do you get the feeling that Everton might be docked 4 points for the second round of it, which would balance the 10-point deduction that they split it in 2?
No, I think they're going to get a bigger one. Because I think for a second offence, you can't go in with a lesser punishment, can you?
It's a lesser offence though, even though it's a second one.
But it's a second one. You know what I mean? It's a second.
Yeah, but don't forget, they were the first people to hold their hands up and say, well, if we've done it wrong for this year, we've also done it wrong for that year. Everton's big issue was the formula they used for the financial fair play and the sustainability and stuff was the wrong formula, apparently. And that's what's getting them in trouble. So it's as much as an accounting issue. So it would be hard to do them twice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, accountants don't do time though.
Don't know about that now.
We have Endo, Diaz, Salah, Dominic could all be back potentially. Salah is better than Benzema. Don't lie, prime Salah greater than prime Benzema. Bro. Joanne, Nottingham Forest 1, Liverpool 3. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
the feeling we might cough a goal. All right.
Yep.
4-0 to the Arsenal. That's what you were thinking, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Joanne's
sure
gone
was.
7-0 to the Arsenal. Joanne's back on the Arsenal brigade. Back on the Arsenal brigade. Good girl, Joanne. I like that. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear any nonsense like 2-2 or something like that. Any manager that goes into Chelsea are restricted. Bali is in control of everything. It's a poison job there. I think he's moving. Is he moving us out of that position soon or something like that? Was he in town and start or something?
Yeah, there's talk of someone coming in and actually running it like a football club, which, again, if you're a Chelsea fan, can only be something you'd like to look for.
Adam Eda scoring goals at Celtic solidifies Darren's thoughts on Scotland. There you go. There you go.
You know what he's done there? You know what he's done there?
Generating a rise.
No, you know what he's done there, because obviously, like, I pour petrol on Scotland week after week because it's an absolutely shocking standard of football. But I do have a small place for the boy Adam Eda. I think he's better than he's shown us thus far. I think some of the performances have been good, and he doesn't get the goals and stuff. And obviously, he's turned a bit of a corner up there at Celtic now, and he scored a few goals, and that's more the same. He's only scoring goals because he's playing with the lads up north. You know, very good, Morris. I'm going to tip my hat to you, Morris. Touche. That was beautiful. I like it.
Go. Joanne, absolutely. Next week is going to be way more trickier for Arsenal, that's sure. Cheapy looking that Ahmed Johnson heat, yeah. There you go.
Absolutely. I like that.
That's our roundup of the Premier League. Quick point to touch on there. Joe Gomez being interviewed after the Carabao Cup win. He believes that Jurgen Klopp's last hurrah has given Liverpool added incentive for their pursuit of a quadruple. Forget about the pursuit of a quadruple. But nothing will change the manager's mind about leaving at the end of the season. I was holding hope that if we did something and we created enough of these moments, potentially, could we turn them back for another year or two? But doesn't sound.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Unfortunately for you, unfortunately for me, I think he's gone in the summer. And I'll probably just sleep a little easier at night time now, and he's not, getting ready to go into Melwood every morning and heap misery on us.
Absolutely. What did you make of this yesterday? Newcastle's Amanda Staveley facing bankruptcy hearing over alleged unpaid 37 million debt.
Didn't hear a bar of it.
Yeah, apparently it's debt from previous to a, did I hear, a logistics company or something like that? And that the money was owed and stuff like that. So interesting.
Sure, if things get really rough, our lads in Saudi Arabia will look after the bill for her.
I would have thought so. When I seen 37 million, I was thinking everything in perspective, really. No, that was my first thought on
100%.
Right. Quick thoughts on Pogba. Let me know in the chat as well, folks, before Darren gets into it. We kind of all know our thoughts on Paul Pogba. But what's your thoughts?
I was looking for something to crack open and celebrate.
What's your general?
Do you know what I might do? Would the window work? Can I crack that open and celebrate?
If you want. What's your general thoughts on sports enhancing performance drugs in football, and how prevalent do you reckon it is? How widespread do you think it might be? And what do you think is a reasonable punishment in these situations?
What do I think is a reasonable punishment? You see, it's very difficult to answer that question, because my dislike for Paul Pogba is going to push me towards an answer that maybe I don't feel, is.
Well, see, this is why I angled it this way, because I didn't want Pogba to be the focal thing.
Yeah. I get that. There is a train of thought that, if you're caught once doping in a sport, you should never play that sport again. Now, I do also know there's extenuating circumstances behind doping. Because obviously, at times we look at players and it can be mixes up with medication and stuff like this. And if you pick up medication from one country, it has a higher level of something in it, and that can cause a false reading. And I think there's a lot of intricacies around it. Now, listen, I also think if it's something that you've been caught doing, unless you have a stone-clad alibi, you know, I don't really think you should play the sport again. I don't. I think that should be a lifetime ban he's been given from all football-related activities.
Yeah, I think if you can prove that it was knowingly done,
yeah,
and not naively done, I think
yes,
I think there could be a case there for a lifetime ban. My biggest problem with this is a lot of these teams at the top end, the big clubs in Europe, the top, say, 10, 15 clubs, are all on the cutting edge of sports science.
Yes.
And today's sports science and nutrition is tomorrow's juice. And that's the problem with the way these things evolve and stuff like that. You know?
There's so much stuff being done, you know, and there's so many ways to hide it. I don't know whether you've listened to any of the stories. There's a podcast that comes on Instagram every now and again, and it shows clipping. It's from American sports and stuff like that, and they talk to a lot of players who are, say, athletes at colleges and stuff like that, and they talk about how, you know, because what they would have done was a lot of recreational drugs. So these guys would have done recreational drugs when they were out partying and stuff like that, but they would have still had to, because they were in season, they would have still had to go through, you know, doping and stuff like that. And there's certain ways that they would say, you know, they can hide it. We can hide it based on, you know, I heard one girl and she was like, we were after being out at this party and we'd done a lot of cocaine, and she said, I knew it was going to be in my system for 48 hours or whatever. And she says 24 hours later, she said, I was getting drug tested. And she said that when I found out I had to be drug tested, I contacted a pal of mine and who had given me the drugs at the party. And she said, don't worry, you know, do A, B, C, and D and you'll be fine. She said, I did A, B, C, and D. And she says, I was fine. I didn't fail the test. You know, so if they're collegiate athletes, now we know obviously how big college sport is in the US, but if they're collegiate athletes, how easy is it for a footballer to, you know, at a particular level, to be able to cleanse himself of his sins, so to speak?
Yeah, it's mad to think the day he was tested and he failed the test as well. Apparently he was a sub, he wasn't even used. He didn't even play, apparently. Mad, isn't it? And they're dragging him in for a test. I wonder, do people give a heads up or something like that? I'm not too sure.
Did you see the video earlier on from the United game?
No.
So there's a video going around. I'll find it for you. And he's coming off the pitch at Old Trafford, and it looks like either a Champions League game or Europa League game, more likely Europa, because he didn't play too much Champions League football at United.
Yeah.
But it's definitely under lights. And as he's coming off the pitch, somebody from Old Trafford says to him, Paul, you've been called for the drugs test. And he just looks and he goes, what? Again? And he gets really, really, and there's a bit of a link, and you can see the guys going, fucking hell, like, this is, when you see it, you're thinking, oh man, how long has he known about this? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, how long has he potentially been getting away with it, allegedly? Like, you know, who knows? Right, let's talk Manchester Derby. Let's go through this, and then we'll round out beat the bookie. Marky must be caught up, folks, so we'll catch up with him on it, though.
He's singing a few tunes in a bar somewhere.
Possibly. Give us a breakdown, what you're thinking, and give us a prediction.
Yeah, like, I don't think we can be too hopeful here, if I'm honest. We haven't been playing great football. We've been picking up results. We've only got maybe 2 defeats since 2024 in the 2 months or whatever. But the performances haven't been convincing. And then when you look in and you see the injuries then, and obviously Hoyland was playing a huge part, where we were able to find the balance of Hoyland through the middle and Rashford on one side and Garnacho on the other and stuff like that. I think it's all just the cards are falling down in the house a little bit, unfortunately. And I think with City, I think the cards are just coming the opposite way. I think the cards are just starting to stack up. You know,
they have been labouring. They have been labouring through games.
They have been. I spoke to was on the way home on Monday or Tuesday, and I was talking to Andrew, and I said, you know, he's primed to score a hat-trick against us on Sunday, and this was before the FA Cup game. And then I got a message the other night as the goals were going in, obviously, and he was like, "Are you watching this?" And I'm like, "No." And of course, I got into the car. I'm on the way home. I called him. I says, "What's the story?" He says, 4 De Bruyne assists, 5 Haaland goals. He said, Yanni called it last night. And I was like, oh, shit. You don't want him going in on that kind of form knowing he's going to deal with, you know, probably a Sofiane Amrabat in the back line, and knowing he's going to deal with a Victor Lindelof, who he's going to just Jared Brightway him and stick him on his arse. And then all of a sudden you've you know, Raphael, Papier-Mâché, Varane, and Diogo Dalot, who he's done his best recently, but I just think this could be a massacre. I really do. And I'm not looking forward to it.
The talk came out as well after the Forest game as well, that a number of players had been complaining on the way home about niggles and stuff like that and all. Maybe they don't fancy being a part of this potential beatdown. Who knows?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, I can understand it. I think for me, it's got to be an opportunity to make changes. You know, put the boy Willie Kambala in there, the young lad. Put Varane. Put Maguire if he's fit. Play Amrabat as a wing back, so he doesn't have to be as defensive minded. Same with Dalot. Pack the midfield, Casemiro, Fernandes, Mainu, and then just play Rashford and Garnacho as a 2 who press in the front, and you try and get them in behind and stuff like that. But go 5 at the back if you have to, you know, so it doesn't get silly. Because if you go in there 4-3-3 and try to take it to City with the way we're run over in midfield, this could get very messy. This could be Anfield 2 years ago.
Yeah, you're really going to have to put up 2 banks of like 4, aren't you? Or 4 and 5, or 5 and 4, and hope to get some sort of a counter with a bit of pace or something like that. And even then, it's going to be difficult, you know.
We did it. We did it for a couple of seasons on the bounce at Stamford Bridge. We used to go in with 2 banks of 4, and we used to go in with Rashford and Lingard, because they were 2 pressers and they would press the ball, and it worked 3 or 4 times. We beat them, but I think it's not something he likes to do, and I think sometimes he's cutting off his nose to spite his face, and this could be what happens on Sunday. Like, listen, I hope I'm wrong. I absolutely hope I'm wrong. We said something similar in the home game. We thought it was going to be a massacre. It was 0-0. Oh no, sorry, with the Liverpool game, it was 0-0. Remember? If I thought we got out of the Emirates with 0-0, I'd be, or the Etihad, I'd be exceptionally happy. But I think if we can keep it below 4, we've done well.
So that's your prediction. You going with a 4-0 or a 4-1 or something, are you?
Yeah, I'll go 4-1 City.
Go 4-1. Yeah, it's going to be.
Can you see that, Niall? Can you see that?
Which? What?
That's pain in my eyes. It's hurt me before I've even started watching the fucking thing.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing, we might be able to put a bit of pressure on City, because if we win our game, the gap would be 4 points again. So that might. It's the little things, isn't it?
I don't think City feel pressure, if I'm honest.
City will be like Blade in the nightclub against Man United, blood everywhere. Yeah, absolutely. Right, beat the bookie time.
Right, I've done a different one this week for you. This was one I explained to you on the phone the other night that has become a firm favourite of mine. Okay. So I've actually got a treble of players to receive cards.
Okay.
So the first game I'm going to look at is we're going to look at Crystal Palace and Spurs. Obviously Glasner and Palace going into play Spurs. They'll play a 5 at the back with the boy Daniel Munoz playing on the right hand side. He will typically go up against Heung-min Son. And the boy Munez is a very aggressive tackler. And I think with going up alongside somebody like Son, it could pose a bit of trouble. So I've got Munoz for a yellow or a red. Any card will do. Manchester Derby, I've gone Casemiro. I think he's looked way off the pace. I think the games are passing him by. And I think when he gets in next to Rodri and De Bruyne and guys like that, I think it's going to be way too quick for him. and I think he'll see a card. And then another lad who invariably is good for a card, as they say, is the boy Malo Gusto at Chelsea, who will be at Brentford and who won't have an easy day at the office because obviously they've Mbeumo on the way back, and they've Maupay, and they've Tony, and then Visa got on the score sheet and stuff during the week. So I'm going Gusto, I'm going Munoz, and I'm going Casemiro. And if all the lads are carded, it pays 24-1.
Nice. I was thinking about this when we had our conversation about that Bookings bet. I remember I mentioned Josh Brownhill, and he got a straight
and he got
red.
red. I was sitting in the bed watching it. I went, what's the fucking chances there? And if you look at it, so if you go into live score and you click on his profile and you go to matches and you click matches, he hadn't received a yellow in the last 5 games, and then he got a straight red.
Yeah. And I spoke about it in the car, remember?
Who
said
knew?
He might be a good one. I did.
Who knew? Yeah.
Right, give us your other one.
I've got 2 more, actually, would you believe? Okay. My next one is result and bout to score. This comes in at 20-1. There's not loads of meat on the bone, but there's a little bit. It's Man City and bout to score. It's Spurs and bout to score. And it's Villa and bout to score. City, Spurs and Villa all to win and bout to score. And that pays 20-1.
Interesting. I did 4 result and bout to score.
And they're 3 of them.
Mine, no, I only have 1. Mine pays 210.
Right.
And I think you called some of them as draws, but I did. I'll give you the 4 then because we're talking about it. I did Brentford and bout to score, Brentford versus Chelsea. I did Everton and bout to score, Everton versus West Ham.
Mm-hmm.
I did Fulham versus Brighton, Fulham and bout to score.
Okay.
And the one you had, Tottenham, hadn't you? I did Tottenham versus Palace.
Tottenham.
Tottenham about to score.
And actually, you can't say that. I did my last bet is result and bout to score as well. But I did Brentford and Chelsea draw, Everton and West Ham draw, Fulham and Brighton draw.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was thinking.
The 3 draws give you 74-1.
Yeah, I was thinking that because I did the draws last week, remember? But when I was listening to you give me your predictions, going to hit home. Romy One Kenobi, I really hate to say it because I love Casemiro, but Rodri will suffocate Casemiro like a king cobra.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
what a footballer.
Indeed. Give us your. Oh, that's your last one, is it?
Yeah, I give you 20, a 24, and a 74.
Okay.
Got a goal scorer for me?
I don't. I couldn't put a goal scorer one together. I struggled. Really struggled because if you think about your predictions, the amount of 1-1s you had and stuff like that, it's tough to put a decent goal. Did you do a goal scorer? No,
I didn't because I done 3 others, but
I did a bet builder for the derby actually. Just to change it up a bit.
Very good.
Yeah. So it's I did Man City to win.
City to win.
Yeah.
You did both teams to score.
No.
No, you did Casemiro for yellow.
No.
Right, go on, Kit. You better tell us something.
I did Rodri to have 1 or more shots on target. I did Phil Foden, anytime goal scorer in a rich vein of form at the moment. I did Kevin De Bruyne to score or assist. And I did Erling Haaland, player to have 1 or more shots on target in each half.
It's not great odds.
17-1.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be great now. It's okay. No, it's not bad.
In quite a lopsided affair, it's not bad.
Which it should be.
Yeah, in theory.
You should. Well, you know what you should do? And I don't know how it would affect it. You should go Haaland to score any time, and then you should go with De Bruyne and Foden goal or assist any time, and do it that way.
Okay, interesting. What I might do is I might do both.
What did you? Because I can make it up now. So if we say cancel, if we say City and United, yeah. You went with City to win, right?
Yep.
Here's me bet builder here. I wonder how it affects it. That's all. Bet builder, right? City to win. Yeah. You went one shots on target. Player to have one or more shots was
Rodri.
Yeah. Right. And then you went no more shots again, was it? Haaland one in each half?
Haaland to have one or more shots on target in each half, yeah.
Right, so we're taking Haaland now that we're going to do anytime Haaland instead, yeah?
Yeah.
And then we're going to do to score, assist, and we're going to do De Bruyne and Foden, yeah?
Yeah.
Shocking value altogether. So, City win.
Yeah.
Rodri one or more shots on target. Yeah. Haaland goal.
Mm-hmm.
Foden goal or assist. And De Bruyne goal or assist. 6-1.
6-1.
6-1.
God. I'm getting value then at 17.
You're not getting bad value, all right, yeah? Absolutely.
Just never seems good from a bet builder.
No.
Romy one can all be funny that Deco met Haaland's representatives like they have a chance in the future. Can we get a John O'Shea chinwag?
Let's not.
Let's not.
Let's not.
It shows how embarrassing the FAI have become, isn't it, when they're putting a manager in for a month? We'll put you in there for a month because we haven't found anyone yet that'll work for a box of cornflakes and some Pop-Tarts.
And we want to see how badly you do, because if it's not absolute carnage, you can have it. But if it's a complete shit show, we'll take you.
But shit, they can't. I mean, he was part of Kenny's backroom staff. They can't. You know what I mean? That would be terrible. That would be terrible.
Would it shock you?
There, Morris just said it. One of Kenny's coaches. I know. Yeah. I was like talking about with Morris the other day. One of Kenny's coaches.
Yeah.
They give him a contract for a month. Good Lord.
I don't know.
You know, 3-0 Aspinall in the final versus Cross. Yeah, he's on fire, Aspinall, at the moment. Belgium waffles on sales. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Well, as always, another great show. We look forward to the weekend's football. It's certainly going to be interesting. Who knows where we'll be next week? That's the main thing. I'll probably be back tomorrow night for a Nottingham Forest preview.
Will I show you where I'll be?
Go on.
I'll be watching the derby.
Behind the cush. I don't know. It's you know.
I'll have me jersey on, but
don't they say form goes out the window for these derbies? No.
Yeah, it does unless you're proper shit like us.
Good Lord, let's see what happens.
No.
Oh God, here we go. We have to win then on Saturday. Good Lord, because if we don't, once we drop behind, that's it. It's curtains. I have to say.
Well, you know, folks, they're coming like a train. So if you don't stay ahead of them, you're going to end up behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thanks for tuning in again, folks. Really enjoy it. Thanks for joining everyone as well in the chat. As always, you guys make the shows what they are. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy the football, regardless of how your team does. And I'll be back tomorrow night, probably with a Forest preview for my sins. Trying to pick a starting 11 should be fun.
Enjoy watching your team get absolutely nut roasted from behind.
Absolutely. 100%.
Oh,
God. Are we back on Wednesday with the wrestling show? We are indeed. We are back on Wednesday. I'll probably drop a video in between, a little review of AEW Revolution from my sins. I feel like someone owes it to Sting to give him a bit of a send off.
Don't bother.
I have to. It's not fair. It's not fair the way he's being mucked around and stuff and all, you know.
It's not fair to Flair.
Yeah, absolutely. God, he's a shadow, isn't he? Keep the faith, the beat might not be that bad. There you go. Saeed match reaction, yeah. I think Saeed probably won't even bother doing one, to be honest, at this stage. It's gotten that bad if the proper beat down. Morris in, don't forget, check out Morris's channel as well as everyone else in the chat and shout him the love. AEW is dead.
we should give Morris a shout out.
Go on.
Have you seen Morris's statistics in fantasy football?
I haven't.
Let me get them for you just before we go, because this is pretty spectacular, if we do say so myself.
Morris, clip this.
No, this is off the charts. So you're ranked according to a number of different things. The first ranking you have is the country you live in.
Yeah.
At the minute, for fantasy football, Morris is ranked 91 in Ireland.
Wow.
You're then ranked by the club you follow.
Yeah.
Morris is the 339th Arsenal fan in the world at fantasy football.
Wow. He does now, in fairness, he does do our show. He does do our fantasy show.
In the game week he was in, he was 2,345. Right? And overall, he's in the top 2,400 of fantasy football worldwide. 2,400.
That's incredible. There's millions of people playing.
Incredible. That is off the charts.
So that is the reason, folks, on a Friday late, you should be tuning in and watching Morris's Fantasy Chancer show.
Don't go sleeping on Morris's Fantasy Chancer. He is money. Morris is money.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they were saying, weren't they saying for WrestleMania 40 night 1, Collision is going to go up against it?
God, don't do it, Tony. Stop.
I'll be back this week. He is back this week. Absolutely. Back with a bang. Darren putting them over. There you go.
Absolutely, pal.
Morris, hook that leg now, Morris, for that 3 count while it's on offer. It doesn't often happen. Folks, if you can on the way out, like the video. Really, really important. Push those likes up as much as you can to help us grow. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, why you wouldn't, I don't know. And hit that bell notification as well. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Cheers, bro.
Thanks, pal.